Okay, so I want to talk about letting go. I really like this guy's video. This guy, this Clark KEGLEY guy. I really like the way he breaks down letting go. It's really a good technique. And also, I have to say, my mother was so on target when she taught me basically a lot of these techniques. This is what I do, okay? And this helps you, especially the more you do this, the more often that you have to do this for different things. And I don't mean always for a relationship. It's not like I'm out here just dropping people because I want to drop people or because I just want to let them go. No, but I don't accept bad treatment. No, I don't accept bad treatment. And if if I am married to you, you'll have ample of opportunity, but I'm not going to stay around where I'm going to be mistreated, okay? I'm not. Okay, but there are times that we need to let go of toxic jobs, toxic friends, toxic groups, old friends, or whatever, family members, or whatever people, things that, habits, whatever. I don't know. There are times that we need to get rid of things that are not serving us, right? Okay, and we need to heal from that. You need to heal from that. So I really like his video. Letting go will change your life so fast it feels illegal. Okay, it looks like that. Okay, and I'm gonna just play this section because I'm only literally gonna play this little part because this is the 4-step process that he comes up with, and this is basically what my mother taught me. This is basically what I do. Now, mind you, I've been posting these videos for the last 3 months or whatever, but I have been, let's see, it'll be, I don't know, 10 months, 11 months out from my last relationship, my last serious relationship. And I'm actually about to hit 1 year. And April, the last eclipse, will make 1 year. Will make 1 year. About. For somebody different. Because one was a rebound, a revisit for the third time that should have never happened. That's why that one happened so fast, is because it was not even a rebound, it was a restart. That's what I should say, a restart to a long past relationship. That's over now. It's completely over. But anyway, prior to that is 1 year. So anyway, for whatever months, six or 7 months, I don't know, this is what I've been doing. Working, resetting myself, resetting what I'm doing, my goals, and resetting and just rebuilding, self-esteem, shadow, all of this right here, just writing. I do a lot of video memos, I do a lot of video prayers. I learned this concept of the open loop from my mother. I think it was my mother who taught me, to write out whatever you want to say to somebody. I remember doing this years and years ago, way before even my first husband passed. And sometimes you need to say something to somebody, you write it out. She taught me this, to write it out and then read it. You may or may not feel like you need to say it to them after that. It may be enough to just do it one time. But especially because my first husband passing, one of the things I learned to do was to write out what I would say, or at least verbally speak out whatever it was that I was thinking. So I didn't have this repeating loop. But I also learned to do it in like this. I have a lot of video diaries. I started doing that because, a lot of times I would be thinking while I was driving or whatever, and I wanted to, make sure that I notated what I was thinking, or the mental clarities or breakthroughs that I was coming to while I was driving or whatever, right? And then I just started doing that. So anyway, I really love these things that he put it in such a good 4-step program or whatever. So let me just share this with you, okay?
The charts. Now we're talking about what do you try to let go of? Now, credit, I first learned about this from Dr. David Hawkins' book under the same name, Letting Go. So if you want to go deeper, that's a great book. And then there's dozens of other books that reference similar charts that are a little different. Now, if you kept a log of every emotion that you feel over the course of an entire year, and then you rank ordered that from best to worst feeling. Okay, so imagine a whole year of data you have, and you just put it on a chart. probably come up with something similar like this. At the bottom here, we have the emotions of suffering. Okay, this is like, dude, it sucks being me right now. I don't like this. Shame, guilt, fear, and anger. Now, if I just say those, is that a place you want to live? That sounds like our emotional baggage, our weight. A little better than that, you have pride, courage, willingness, acceptance. This is more of getting by. Like, nothing's great, nothing's too bad, yeah, I'm just getting by. Most people calibrate around here on an emotional scale day to day. And then you have the really good ones: reason, peace, joy, and love. Those are the high vibes. That's when you're picturing 2.0 you, or you on vacation, or what most people, this could be a very long conversation, falsely assume is the goal. I can't help but say this one nuanced point. The goal here is not to never feel this and only feel this. That's a fantasy. The goal here is the full range of the human experience and opening yourself up to feel everything on here. There's people I know closely whose father passed away, and he was on SSRIs, antidepressants, because he was depressed. He was in these states right here. And what he said is, I quit the SSRIs because they numbed me, and I wanted to cry at my dad's funeral. So sometimes, like, feeling this allows you to feel human, and that's a part of letting go as well. The goal is to expand the human experience. And when you feel some of the lows intensely, you can feel some of the highs as well. Is this useful so far?
Okay, so you see that point? I have a video that I have posted specifically about, there's a scripture in James, and it's in, is it James 4:11? Anyway, it's about, I titled the video, So You Think You're Humble? The reason why I titled it that is because there's a scripture in James that literally says, that God brought to me in a time that I needed it. It said, let yourself be mourning. Let there be mourning, let there be dejection. Humble yourselves under the hand of Jehovah, under God. Okay, so in other words, it takes humility to allow yourself to stay down there, to stay in this little part right here where you're feeling these feelings, right? So he talked about them: anger, fear, and suffering. He calls it suffering. The thing about this is that you don't have to stay here very long. You don't stay in this, but it is healthy and normal and real to feel these feelings, to feel anger, to be hurt, to feel like life sucks right now, to feel the deficit of the person who walked out of your life, or who left, or you left, or maybe you had to leave. It is normal to feel and miss that person. It's this bad part right here that he talks about, the suffering, that people want to run from. They want to run from that feeling because you think you're going to stay there forever. Actually, you don't. Feelings are like, or our emotions are like the waves of a sea. The waves. They come and they go. It's like waves. Sometimes you have big crashing waves that come up high, and sometimes you have little waves, that come, but they always come and go, and recede. It doesn't stay up high, right? Okay, so in the same way that emotions come and go, people want to run so fast from this right here, from feeling this, to take pills, to drink, to do hard drugs or whatever combination, because they don't want to feel this feeling. Let me just say that when you honor yourself, when you honor your feelings, you allow yourself to feel them, and you give them the respect that is due. Like, for example, let's say you break up with somebody. It could be mutual, it could be whatever, right? But if you are upset with that person and you feel that you were wrong, you have the right to feel that way. You have the right, whether they want to give you that right or not. Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you feel wronged, these are your feelings. This is how you feel. Okay, it is not up to me or anybody else to say, well, you don't have the right to feel that way. That's like being a narcissist. Okay, that's what that is. Because you have the right to your feelings just like I have the right to mine. Now, if there's something that I could do to lessen that feeling, and I want to do that for you, and you have given me that power, to kiss your boo-boo and make it go away, right? And I want to do that for you, then I will. And maybe that helps lessen the pain, and maybe you don't break up, right? But let's say somebody hurts you really bad, or they let you down really bad, or they cheat on you, whatever, I don't know. Okay? It's like, you have the right to be upset. You have every right to honor your feelings, to be angry, to be disappointed, to be sad, to cry, whatever it is that you want to feel, right? You have every right. And when you say that, especially when you say it out loud, or you write it down, or and he talks about one of the techniques, like in one of his other videos, I learned this from my mother. You sit that person in a chair, pretend, right? And you say everything you want to say to them. It helps you to release those thoughts that are circling around in your head, or repetitive, going on and on and on, or whatever, right? It helps you to get your feelings out, your emotions out, your thoughts, your words, all of that out, right? And it also gives honor and credit to them, right? Instead of running. And you also allow God a chance to hear and see you, right? And be able to give you help, give you downloads, give you thoughts, give you coping skills, ways to, to deal, scriptures, whatever, right? This is very, very, very therapeutic, very, very therapeutic, to not run from these feelings right here. But if you notice, even though they're in the red, you feel them the most, right? They're in the red. I don't know if you can see that. But look how small that portion is. You actually don't stay in that very long. You really don't. But the more you push that away, or you run from all of these feelings of dejection, or whatever it is that you're feeling here, maybe you feel responsible. I mean, let's get real. When two people break up, a lot of times, it's the chemistry that the two of you brought together. A lot of times it's not just a clear-cut line of who's at fault, right? Sometimes it is. If you are an extreme narcissist who wants to throw, fire on your mate's face, like I just watched this video, this poor woman who had to deal with that maniac of a man who did that, okay, that's a clear-cut line. I don't care what kind of argument you get into. There's no throwing fire on somebody's face. Okay? You're definitely going to be paying for that spiritually, okay? God is not going to be happy with that. But like, that's a clear line. But most of the time in relationships, a lot of times it's just a lot of finger pointing, right? But sometimes you did project some things on. Sometimes you did yell too much, you screamed too much, you were not agreeable, and you didn't help in aiding the romantic vibe for your wife to want to be a wife to you, okay? So like, take ownership of that. Just take ownership of that and be like, yeah, I was a jerk. I was a jerk. I was a real hoe, okay? You could just be like, yeah, you know what I was. And I didn't like that person. I don't like that. I don't like who I was. I don't like how I showed up in that relationship. I don't want to be that way again. I don't want to be that. I have literally known people who have had a horrible, growing up with their father, a horrible role model for a father, who, beat up on their mom or did whatever, but that man decided to be different and not be the same in his marriage. In fact, I definitely, I know people like that, but I have known even close family members like that who decided to be completely different than the role model they grew up with. To change themselves in that way, to not be that way, that it hurt them so much. And I see this a lot when, especially little boys, when they see that, and when they can't help their mom, and they see their mom in pain, and they see that their mom is being hurt or whatever, they usually make one or two decisions. They either become that, and they just do that by default because that's the example they saw, or they make the clear, distinct decision not to. They say, I'm not going to be like that. I'm not. But you can make that decision at any point. You can make that decision. At any point in your relationship, you can decide to show up different, to be authentic, to be real, to feel your feelings, to allow yourself the opportunity of the full human experience. Just think about it. Jesus Christ came to earth and he felt the full range of emotion. He lost his friend Lazarus. He knew he was going to resurrect him. He still cried. He still had tears. He had emotion. He felt joy. He got angry when he went to temple and they were selling and making money and everything and profiting in there, he got angry. It was a righteous anger. He felt dejection. He felt disloyalty. He had traitors. Everybody left him. They fell asleep on him. They didn't have his back. Of course, he knew what he came to do, but he felt the full range. He loved his mother. He felt all that. He felt the full range of the human experience, right? And this is what he's talking about. It is okay to feel these feelings. It is okay to even give them the respect, the time and the respect that they deserve, so that you have time to go through these feelings, to go through these emotions. You don't stay here very long. Now, there is a difference, and he doesn't talk about this, but there is a difference, and there is sometimes a chemical imbalance in the brain, and a real imbalance, where you may stay too long in one of these sections here. Okay, you may stay too long in one of these times. So, in that case, that's different. You may stay too long in the grief state, or in this, anger or fear or repetitive or whatever. There may be a real chemical imbalance, which is, something you need to go to the doctor for, and you do need to figure out what's going on if you stay in a serious depression too long. Basically, there is serotonin, there's dopamine, and there's norepinephrine. Okay, those are the three basic neurotransmitters, hormones in the brain. Okay, that give you the feelings and the ability, to kind of feel the feelings. The hormones actually tell. I'm not a doctor. Okay, I'm just going based on what I've researched and what I've read. Typically, if you are a person who stays in the past and is depressed and sad about things that happened in the past that you can't fix, or someone you lost, someone who's passed away, things that you have no control over, mistakes, regrets, if you stay in that very, excessively too long, and when I say excessively too long, I mean, some people stay in this bottom one like a couple of days to a couple of months, but anything past a couple of months is excessive, and you may have a chemical balance. But that's typically based on those symptoms. Typically, it's a serotonin issue. You may have, if you feel sad a lot, sad for things in the past, looking back, is usually a serotonin situation, or your serotonin receptors have been fried, burnt. Maybe you smoked too much weed in your life, or you've smoked something too much, or you've done too much drugs or whatever, and you've fried some receptors in your brain, so they're no longer able. You may make plenty of serotonin, but if your receptors are fried, they can't attach. Okay, that's repair brain work that needs to be done, and in which case you need fish oils. I'm keeping it very real with you. I'm not a doctor. Do whatever you want, but I'm telling you what you need. You need fish oils. You need a lot of oils. Your brain is oily. Your brain is full of oil, and you need oils. Lots of them. Fish oils, coconut oil. This is something I put in my protein shakes, especially for my future, or for any husband I'm with. I put the oils in there to make sure the brain is running. Okay. If you are experiencing a lot of anxiety for the future, like you overthink, you're scared to make a move, you have a lot of anxiety of future events, of things that haven't actually happened, or you're in fear of people's reactions, if you have a hard time just pushing green and hitting go and doing whatever that thing is because you have a lot of anxiety, right? A lot of times that's low dopamine. That's frontal lobe, lower dopamine. You usually also tend to like rushes, like you tend to like maybe rides or scary movies or anything that gives you a dopamine rush. Some people are constantly looking for that dopamine thrill, and yeah, you're like a thrill seeker, or you can be or have been known to do that, or it gets you all hyped up, right? But you have a lot of anxiety, basically anxiety of future events, right? Things that have not happened yet, and that also can give you like panic attacks and things like that. That could be a dopamine. You're a little lower in your dopamine, and there's the reason why I'm telling you this is because there is medicines that specifically work on those hormones. Is not the word I'm looking for. Neurotransmitters, I think, is the word. But those, I think it's another word I'm looking for. But they're brain signals, okay? They affect your mood. So when you are high serotonin, it's going to keep you from, like when you do take some of those SSRIs that he was talking about, those pills that he was talking about in the video, like, in other words, they keep your serotonin from dipping too low. So that way you don't feel sad, maybe when you should feel sad even, okay? It's like they don't let you go too high or too low. You stay in this mid-range, okay? But if you are lacking dopamine, also, people that tend to lack dopamine, also, I have noticed, dopamine affects your frontal lobe, and a lot of times people who have issues with that tend to do this a lot. Or they do a lot of tapping in the head, okay? I mean, I'm just keeping it real. Like, I've done research on this stuff. It's your trying to activate your frontal lobe is what you're unconsciously doing. You are unconsciously not even realizing it. It's a thing I think your body will just do or something. Anyway, you're trying to think your way, like Winnie the Pooh. Tink, tink, tink. You ever remember that cartoon? Tink, tink, tink. Okay, so that is you needing to raise your dopamine. Now, there are actually even some beans that, like literally beans, you can literally buy pills, but there is a supplement called L-Dopa. L-Dopa is an amino acid that raises your dopamine naturally, okay, and will help you. Now, there have been some different versions of that. It has come and gone off the market for whatever reason. I talked to different family members about this and be like, have you found L-Dopa? I don't know. You know, I've seen it, but they've changed it. It's not the same. Anyway, there are other, in other words, I'm telling you so that you know what you can look up based on the symptoms that you may be having. If you are staying in certain things too long, okay? One of my loves is herbs and vitamins and natural holistic medicine. I'm telling you, at 15, I started reading the Natural Path book. Like right here, I have, even right here on my bookshelf that I just happen to have, okay? I read, I'm a reader. I actually like to read stuff. And I have read lots of information on this right here, on this subject right here. Typically though, I'm telling you what to look for, because if you know like what your symptoms are, what you're dealing with or whatever, and it's excessive, and you are like, you know, having anxiety for future events to come or whatever, that's dopamine, okay? And if you've done any drugs in excess, if you smoke too much, especially weed and different things, you have fried a lot of your receptors, especially in your dopamine, your frontal lobe dopamine, okay? And it's something serious to think about. It can be repaired. It does. The brain and brain tissue does take a long time. At a minimum, it takes really about a year of consistent, healthy habits and nutrients and things to heal. But it absolutely can heal. And I've actually helped some people with this. And knowing which herbs and vitamins and things that will help to support that, okay? In the meantime, in between time, just know that there are different symptoms for different lack of receptors, or for the lack of or the deficiency is what I'm trying to say. I think the deficiency of those, you know, either serotonin, dopamine, or norepinephrine. Now, norepinephrine, I don't remember. I don't remember the symptoms for that because it wasn't one that I had. I did read it, but I think it was somewhere of a mix in between the two. I can't remember, so I don't even want to say that because I can't remember. But there was something specific for that too. Anyway, at least if I put that on the radar and I get that out there, you at least know maybe you have a direction of where to go. Okay? Because you may need that, or at least know what supplements, if you want to do it more holistically, at least know where to go for research or what type of thing. Okay? The point is that, you know, for everyone who has normal brain function chemicals and everything are there or whatever, but you're just experiencing something sad, or you're just experiencing something traumatic or a life change of some sort, a breakup or whatever, right? It is okay to go through these motions and to feel these feelings. It's okay. It is okay. Now, there was a movie that I love. It's called Pride and Prejudice. But I like Pride and Prejudice, the original. Is it the original one? It's not the last one that just came out, but I think there might be 3 of them. Anyway, the father in that movie, the father said something that I always used to repeat and I always used to say. And he says something to the effect of, it's okay, let me feel, don't despair. He was talking to one of his daughters. Don't despair. Let me feel them. Let me feel these feelings. They will go away. They'll go away sooner than later. Nonetheless. Now, what he was referring to was one of the younger daughters went out and embarrassed the family by, like, I don't know, getting married or something, and she ran off with some guy, and it embarrassed. Back then, you know, this was like way back in, I think, I don't know, 1800s. I don't know. It was like way back. Anyway, she embarrassed the family, and everybody was feeling shameful. And the older daughter had actually warned the father, "Don't let her, Lizzie, whatever the girl's name was, like, don't let her go out with her friends because she's not ready. She's too immature. Basically, she's going to embarrass us. She's not ready," right? And the father was like, "Oh, it's fine. Let her go with her, with her friend." He was actually like, he was very laid back. He was a very laid back kind of guy. So he was like, "Yeah, let her go. It's okay." Well, she ends up running away, and it becomes the talk of the town, and everybody's embarrassed and like, "Oh my God, like, they're not even married. Where are they at?" They end up getting married or whatever. But when they get wind of it, because remember, there's no cell phones and stuff back then, right? So, like, whenever they get the written letter from the guy on the horse that sends them this letter, and everybody's in shock and horror. Oh my God, what did she do? And the daughter was trying to console the father, and he said, "It's okay. Don't," like, basically he said, "Don't try to take away my feelings. I need to sit in this for a minute." Because the way he said it like, it's okay. These feelings are okay. They'll be gone sooner or later. It's okay. Like, in other words, he was saying, like, don't take this away. Or she was trying to make him feel better, and he was like, "No, there's no need for that. I deserve this." That's what he was saying. He said, "I deserve this because you warned me about this, basically, and I deserve to feel this." And then his next daughter, the one younger one after that, when she wanted to go to town or whatever, she was like, "No." But and that's what he was saying. I'm gonna learn from this feeling. I always used to think about that whenever I saw that part. I was like, yeah, he didn't run from the feeling or the shame or anything, whatever, right? He sat in it long enough because he knew the feeling would go away eventually. And that's what he was saying. It will go away sooner or later. It goes away sooner or later. Okay? So there is value and importance, and it's healthy to sit in your feelings, right? Validate them. I learned this from my mother a long time ago also. She used to always say that. Your feelings, if you push them down, they're just like water that's coming out of a socket. And it's like, if you turn on the water to come on, the water's going to come out. But if you try to stop the socket, even though that it's on, because when you turn it on, that's your emotions. Turning it on is your emotions. The water is coming out. Okay? And if you try to put a sock up there or whatever to block that water, it's just going to bust below in the pipes down below the sink. The water is still going to come out. If you try to stop the water here, right? where you know, at the spigot, if you try to stop the water here, it's going to come out somewhere else because you turned the power on. Your emotions are on. And that, my mom used to always tell me that. She used to say, those are your emotions. Don't try to hide from them. Don't try to run from them. Don't try to stop them. Don't try to, you know, shove them down. Okay? Deal with them. And be okay with them. You have the right to express them, to say whatever, to sit with them for a minute or whatever, so that way you have time to, you know, diagnose your feelings. Okay, so anyway, this is his plan for letting go. I'm going to leave it right here. Okay, I'll go through another part later on. But this is, you know, good information I think that everybody can use. And anyway, I hope it helps. Bye.